how we act. So, you know, what do you choose? So, yeah, that's in terms of relating with other people, relating with yourself. Some things, I mean, practical things you might want to do if you're not doing this already. Drink at least one green drink a day. Greens are like primary, they're key for helping you to feel more balanced, more alkalized, more calm, you know, more mineralized. Leafy greens are like the foundation for being healthy for anybody. It doesn't matter how you're eating right now. If you can get at least one green drink a day going into your body, you're setting yourself off on a great path. You know, whether it's a green juice or a green smoothie or even one of those green powders you can get in water, whatever it is, just up the greens for most people is going to be a great step forward. In terms of how you're feeding yourself through other portals, you know, consider the media that you expose yourself to, consider the people you expose yourself to, the situations you expose yourself to. You know, mainstream media maybe isn't the most optimal choice for feeling really positive and excited about life and about your own self-image. Even if you think about the kind of imagery and messages that women especially get through the mainstream media, it can come across ultimately as very toxic and limiting and controlling. So, you know, it's a choice. Do you want to be exposing yourself to that kind of stuff, or might it be more exciting to, for example, get online and start a little Google search all around the place of things that you're genuinely excited about? Maybe you look up raw food, or you look up consciousness, or you look up eye gazing or meditation or yoga, or, you know, there's so many paths. There's not like one path that's going to lead people into a space where they feel more aligned and more excited about life, and different things will resonate for different people. But my overall sense is that getting away from mainstream media tends to be a great stepping stone forward. You know, one of those little steps that we can take to move in a more positive direction. And if there's one resource I would recommend for people to really take things to the next level, it would be the Anastasia book, or the whole series of the Ringing Cedars books by Vladimir Magray. Nothing has inspired me more in recent years or influenced my choices more than the Anastasia book, especially, but that whole series of books, there's 9 of them. If you're not familiar with that, you can look up Anastasia online, Ringing Cedars. Yeah, it's a series of books about a woman who's living wild in Russia, in the Siberian forest, and living very, very close to nature and connected to the universal energies. And she shares incredible visions of what is possible for us here as humanity. The kind of skills that we have that we might not even realize that we have, the way that we could be living if we were all on a piece of land growing food. You know, it's so simple. It's a book full of all of those kind of simple universal truths that when you read them, when you access them, for me at least, and for almost everybody I speak to, there's just a sense of, oh yeah, I knew that already. You know, like there's an absolute resonance of the truth in these books. It's just, there's nothing in here that doesn't make sense on the ultimate level. You know, there's just this sense of like, yeah, you know, on every single page, being reminded what's really important and what's really valuable to it. So yeah, if there was just one thing I could recommend people to do, or one resource to look to, it would be the Anastasia book. It's completely shifting consciousness all around the world. Millions of people getting to the land, growing food, connecting to nature, touching the earth. You know, so few people actually touch the earth with their bodies these days. We're so ungrounded in so many ways. People living on concrete all the time in high-rise buildings, in vehicles, you know, then people seldom even touch nature. So, I mean, there's so many things we could go into, but yeah, those are a few ideas for baby steps.
Yeah, beautiful ideas, little steps that make a big difference. And what you just said, I experienced it in my own life. Like being disconnected from nature means being disconnected from myself.
Yeah.
And there it all starts.
Yeah.
So you have started here growing a beautiful fruit garden, or how you call it, fruit forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that must also be a huge impact in how you relate to the food you take in, the cycles of nature. What have you experienced there so far?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've only been here 3 months so far, so it definitely is in the beginning stages. But already, we're completely self-sufficient in greens. Yeah, not in fruit, because of course fruit trees take a lot longer to get to maturity. But yeah, in leafy greens, already in 3 months, we're self-sufficient. And yeah, there's so many things that when I'm out in the garden, things that occur to me about gardening and about our relationship with food and wild foods. And something that I was discussing recently with my partner was, it's begun to seem kind of absurd to me to actually plant anything and to grow anything, because especially here we're noticing so much stuff that nature is providing abundantly for free, just producing everywhere for us to consume if we choose to, and and we are consuming those things with delight, like purslane and what else do we have? Amaranth, and we have dandelion, thistles, clovers, lots and lots of different greens out here that are wild. And then what I noticed was part of the process here was I was pulling those guys out and putting in these domesticated seeds. I mean, of course I'm using like organic or biodynamic seeds that have a lot of love and history behind them, heirloom seeds, and still it just occurred to me how bizarre the process was, you know, that nature was providing all of this stuff, and I was saying, yes, that's very nice, and I'm pulling them all out and putting in things that my civilized mind tells me are appropriate to eat. You know, my upbringing tells me it's appropriate to eat lettuce, and it, you know, or whatever. And where do you ever see a lettuce in the wild? You know, lettuces don't survive in the wild. And so then, you know, we begin to find the need to spray these things with like neem oil, for example, as a natural pesticide, and it becomes, you know, it just becomes kind of absurd. And at the same time it's exciting because I've never had a garden, so like I'm enjoying it, but I'm also witnessing this kind of bizarre process of like, do I really want to be doing this? Like, is this really necessary? So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it unfolds in the coming years. You know, I can imagine that at some point we reach a place where we're just consuming the wild greens and the fruits that we've planted. We've planted a lot of different fruit and nut trees over there, like more than 100 already. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, you know, to see how that unfolds. And I definitely love being out in the garden, and I try to get out here at least a couple of hours a day to be with the plants, see how they're progressing, see who needs help, you know, weeding in different areas. I feel like there is so much to learn because I did not grow up with this kind of background. So at times it can feel totally overwhelming, you know, it's like, man, there's so much to learn. And it's exciting, and when I experience this kind of reality, my heart swells with the idea of children being brought up with this everywhere.